Hey everyone, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It is Tuesday morning, and I tell you, if you've been around half as long as I have, you know life can just turn on a dime. And boy, has it ever. You won't guess who. Prince Andrew's who I'm talking about. And things have changed for him in the case at 24 hours in a way that none of us could have expected. Have you heard? Have you heard? Remember a few months ago when Attorney General of the United States Pam Bondi said she had the Epstein file on her desk and it was going to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb? Well, after all this talk about the Epstein list, there's no list. There's no evidence. Apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail for the movement of minors for certain purposes directed by Jeffrey to nobody. Nothing happened. Isn't that amazing? We've concluded nothing's happened. Kash Patel, head of the FBI, has concluded that any case that may have been open concerning, any involvement of Prince Andrew at all has been completely, we close the book, we're done, nothing to see here, it's done. After months of the public waiting to finally see the evidence that we know they have. Hell, we've all seen the flight logs. We know the involvement. For 20 years, Andrew has been tied to Jeffrey. And even though this may be a bid to break those ties, just sweeping the evidence under the rug and saying it doesn't exist, isn't gonna stop people believing that Andrew isn't telling the truth. That's right. They also, just to give us, another little treat, they put out a video. That's right, there's video now of the night that Jeffrey did what he did in his jail cell. He was supposed to be on that kind of a watch. Turns out some of the, guards fell asleep and who knows what happened, and there's always been a concerning story for those of us that don't believe that the way they're telling it is how it actually happened. So they put out a video, but the thing that they guess we wouldn't notice, that if you look at the timestamps on the video, there's a very apparent gap at which time cameras were turned off, and then when whatever happened, they were turned back on again. Kind of like what happened at the Point d'Alma on August 31st, 1997, when all the traffic lights and cameras through the city and in the tunnel, and there's so many CCTV cameras, for some reason, for about 20 minutes, all of those cameras turned off too. Isn't that an coincidental. Wow. Stuff like that happens. Wow, is all you can say. So yeah, there's a gap in the video. Who'd they get to edit the video? Meghan Markle? Holy moly. This is ridiculous. Yeah, so we're left hanging. Nothing to see here, folks. Epstein, the files, the list. Nothing to see here, folks. It's done. Well, it's not done. Because you can't just say something doesn't exist when we all know it does. You can't just say something didn't happen when we all know it did. So this is completely insane, complete gaslighting by the Attorney General and the FBI on the public. And so when something like this happens, you got to kind of look and you have to ask, well, how and why has this happened? And who benefit from this happening? You know, from removing Jeffrey Epstein from his cell, 10 minutes of missing video, you know, that always happens. When they showed us at the time the before and after pictures of Jeffrey alive, and then the aftermath on the gurney, it's not the same person. They don't match. The ears are different. The nose is different. So where is Jeffrey? Some people believe that he was squirreled out of there, perhaps during that 10 minutes of video. And the man in the photo, poor bugger, isn't Jeffrey. He's been protected. As long as we're going to go down this route, I mean, things are getting so crazy. Is Ghislaine actually in prison? Do we actually have any proof that she's actually in prison? The only interviews have been with her brother, and that was over the phone. There's no real proof. There's no real proof. Virginia's been neutralized, and 3 months after Attorney Pam Bondi says she's got all the evidence, the case is closed. It's dropped. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the Crown exerted some pressure. It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time they've intervened to protect their own interests. Don't forget, over a decade ago, Megyn Kelly had this story. She had all the evidence. Andrew Epstein, the island. All of it. But she says the network, under pressure from the Crown, made her drop the story a decade ago. So how does this all benefit the king then? Well, we know he's in his later days. We know he would desire leaving a united royal family going forward. Rapprochement with Harry, a brother's reunion. The shadow of doubt lifted from Andrew, and by extension lifted off the royal family for protecting him. Shadows lifted, a legacy of a monarchy united in his wake. The stain of those kind of crimes removed from the royal family forever. Could that be the motivation? Could the king have intervened? I think so. And that leads us into our next story. This is wild. It's being reported that the king has made a request. He wants Harry and Meghan and the children at his funeral, and is being planned as we speak for not only for them to attend, but for them all to have major roles. That's right, Meghan is going to be standing vigil. The children, I don't know what they're going to be doing, but yeah, this has been reported that the king wants them there and wants them to play a major role. Really? This is another Megan Plant story, and I'll tell you why and how. What have we heard for months from the palace? We've from Harry's own mouth that his own father isn't speaking to him, won't take his calls, doesn't want to talk to him. So why? Why would there be discussions about all their roles at the funeral if his father can't even speak to him? Because he would know if there were those kind of discussions, it would be out in the papers, out in the media, like this story is now. But I don't think it's been leaked. I think it's been contrived. I think Meghan's behind this. So that from now to the rest of time, she can say we were invited, and I mean, they'll figure out some way not to go or something. But she's done this before. Remember that whole Dior thing? When she came out in that striped sweater and said, stories, I think it was People or something, that Meghan was, oh yeah, she was going to be the next face of Dior, and she's posing in the sweater, and then 2 days later we see the real model in the real striped sweater. Meghan has this thing, it's a psychopathy, where she figures if she says something long enough or tells you something long enough, like I'm going to be the face of Dior, and puts it out there, that they're going to be so cowed because she's a duchess that they're going to have to give her the contract to save face, right? That she can basically bully her way into things. Well, it didn't work with Dior. And I really think this is what she's trying to do now. She's contrived a story to make it look like the king really wants her there, and they're involved in talks as we speak of the level of involvement. And she just couldn't wait to tell all of us all about it. The palace isn't commenting on this. Charles hasn't come out and said anything. This is not from the palace. This is a contrived story to keep her name in. That's all it is. This is just Meghan making stories up again. She does this all the time. This is her MO. This is her MO. That's it. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing to this story. Now, would Charles like there to be a reunion and all? Yeah, I'm sure he would. I'm sure he'd like to leave that legacy. But it's not going to happen. You know what else isn't going to happen? Just because the Attorney General and the FBI shoved it under the rug, just because Virginia Giuffre can't speak anymore, just because I think Ghislaine's been put offside and out of the way, and she won't say a word to save her skin. Just because they're all telling us Andrew's free and clear. He'll never lose that cloud over his head. That's my thoughts for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.